Hi everybody, welcome to my Flosstube. My name is Amy. I go by Fiber Arts Amy here and on Instagram. If you're new here, this is Freya. Do you want to say hi, Freya? Freya? You want to look over here? Look over here. Freya. No, you don't want to say hi. You just want to... Nope. Okay. This is my filming buddy. She's actually not feeling so great today. So we're trying to have a little bit of a restful day for her. Anyway, totally beside the point. I'm here for a regular Flosstube. So today, did I say the date? Today is October 3rd, 2024. It's Thursday. The Queen City Stitch Retreat starts in 2 weeks. So I'm very busy, very stressed, trying to get ready, especially because I'm vending there. For those of you who don't know, I have Oak Crown Studios, hand-dyed fabric company, and I've never really vended before, and so I'm nervous, and there's a million things to do and orders to get out before then, and so there's a lot going on. But I really wanted to take the time to sit down and film a Flosstube and catch up with you guys before I go. My stitchy bug's actually been going really strong. I don't have tons of time to stitch, but I've been trying really hard to grab, less so on the weekends, but excuse me, at least during the week. I just realized there's a project I forgot to bring down. That's okay, next time. I'm trying really hard to grab an hour or two a day to stitch. Just, you know, the longer I go without stitching, the more the stitchy bug disappears. And I think I'm just a healthier person if I'm taking time every day to stitch. It's not every day, but I'm trying. Okay, so I'm gonna jump in. The first thing I'm gonna show you is what I've been spending most of my stitching time on. My dog lets me stop petting her long enough for me to use both hands. So I have been working my butt off on Teresa Winsler's Princess and the Dragon. Also, I finally started watching Stitch and Mommy's Whip Parade that she just put up a few weeks ago, which means I got to see her finished dragon ride. It's so good. It's so pretty. And it was so, like, I just watched it. Like, actually, I'm still watching her Whip Parade, but dragon rides near the beginning. It's so good, and it was so inspiring to see. I watched her work on that for so long. It's just so beautiful, and I can't wait to have mine done. And my stitchy bug for Teresa Winsler's, I think I said this last time, I've been in the mood for like slightly more complicated stitching lately. Not just big projects, but projects that are like more intricate in some way, that are maybe slower and take more time to do. Like the physical stitching is slower and I have to focus on more. I don't know. That's just what I've been in the mood for. And I'm still like holding out a tiny bit of hope this is going to get done this year, but I don't, especially because I jump around all over the place. I think it's very hard to tell like how much is left, you know? But I feel like I'm making really good, really steady progress on her. Anyway, that's the image. You probably don't care about just seeing that image. And I just took this off the Q snaps after stitching this morning. This is where, I can't see what you can see. This is where I am. So I finally finished, so I decided to really focus on the over one stitching. So this chart has an over 2 option and an over 1 option for the skin. The thing is, the over 2 option was still so fractional heavy, because normally I like on mirrors, I always do over 2 skin. I just prefer that look. But the over 2 skin was so fractional heavy that in this case, I thought it made a lot more sense to just go ahead and do the over 1 skin. But I found the charting for it confusing just because in the main chart, there's just like a blank where those skin stitches go. And some of them are like hair stitches and other things. And then the over 1 stuff is on a completely different chart. And even if you're doing like the over two face, it's on a different chart. They're not together. And something about this, like usually I'm really good with like spatial stuff, but something about this just, I found it difficult and confusing. It was just difficult. Now, once I got like half the over one stitches in, about like, then it became easier. Then I'm like, oh, I could like see where I was, and it was a lot easier to figure things out and to keep going. But it was very, very confusing initially to get started. So I haven't backstitched it, but I've finished the face, one hand, and the other hand. And some of the like colors around it also are over one. I had already started backstitching around the frame of the piece, but I also started putting in where I can some of the backstitching around the dragon. Started the backstitching for the wings. This morning I was putting in some of these greens and blues. It's so confetti heavy, and like up here on the dragon scales, it was a lot of counting, but also I could see like the general form of what I was doing, right? These kind of arched stripes. Now I'm like working down here where it's just much more confusing, because you'll have a color that's in here, but also in part of a stripe, and maybe also down here, and that maybe goes over here some. It's just a lot. So I've worked on the princess a lot. Like I said, this morning I was working on the greens and blues there. I made a ton of progress on the princess. Not just the skin, but like some of the darker grays and pinks and reds. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled with how it's coming along. There's still quite a bit of border to do, but like, I'm certainly not going to have like the whole border to do, right? Like I've made a ton of progress there overall. I've been working on the princess and over here, and I don't know, I took it off the Q-snap, and I was thinking about maybe putting the Q-snap there next time and working on filling in the dragon. That might be what I do. I'm interested to see what happens next week, so I've got one more full week before I have to leave for the retreat. And I know I should make time to sit down and stitch, even though the retreat's coming. But I also have orders to get out and emails to answer, and I think it remains to be seen if I actually manage to follow through on taking that time for myself, but I hope I do. Okay, let's stick on the Teresa Winsler theme for now, shall we? So I started another one. Yeah, I started another one. So this is Tapestry Cat. Yep, Tapestry Cat. This reminds me of a cat that I used to have, and they don't look identical. It just still somehow reminds me. I had a Siamese cat. I know this is like a long-haired cat. Mine was short-haired, and it was a mixed breed one. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The cat reminds me of my cat, and the border's so pretty. Look at the flowers. The floral border on this reminds me very much of Teresa Winsler's Woodland Fairy, which is another whip that I have. It's, if I had to pick one Teresa Winsler that was my all-time favorite, it would be Woodland Fairy. So I love I love cats. We can't have cats because my husband's so allergic, but I miss having cats. I'm a total cat person. And again, that floral border just reminds me so much of my of the Woodland Fairy. I love the Greek key element in it. So anyway, I started this. There's not much done. There's not much done at all. I mean, I was able to put like a few stitches in, and that was like a week ago. I started on the inner border. I was able to get a few stitches in, and that's it. But that's okay. I was just like in the mood. Like, I think I was in kind of a bad mood, and I was like, ugh, I'm grumpy, and it's been a long day, and I'm just gonna start another Teresa Winsler. Anyway, So this is also how, so oftentimes if I'm doing one of those long stretches of any border, but including a Teresa Winsler border, I'll do 9 half stitches and then I'll cross my 10th. So that's a full stitch, and then 9 and then a full stitch, and then 9 half stitches and then a full stitch. And that's how I like count out, or you know, kind of double check my counting. Because once you've done that, it's very easy at a glance to see if one of them's like longer or shorter, and I find it much easier to keep track. I decided not to do that on this because what I'm stitching is this line right here, and there's actually not that many stitches here before you get to an area where there's some fractionals. So yeah, I decided not to, that I didn't really need to bother with it. So that's all I've done. But I started it and it made me happy. And I'm excited to go back to it. These flowers are just, like, look at those petals. I mean, I know they're so time consuming to stitch, but they're so beautiful. And I feel like it's the kind of stitch piece that you could look at for hours, just like admiring it, right? And just like kind of seeing something new every time. It's beautiful. And this is in a bag that I think fits it very well. This is from Kathy's Posies on Etsy. I am so bad about telling you guys like what I'm using. But Kathy's Posies bag from Etsy. I love her bags. They're very inexpensive. She should charge more. And they're just pretty. And this is like, it's like printed fabric, but it looks like a cross stitch chart. It's so pretty. I'm using the kit materials for this. I do have the pattern. I actually bought the kit. One came up for a good price. One came up for a good, and by good price, I mean less expensive than what it would be if I were to kit it up like myself, right? Came up for a really good price on eBay recently. So I just bought the kit and started it as soon as it got here. Kit material, so it's on a Monaco, antique white is my strong guess. It's not a white. I'm trying to think of where to put things. So everything needs to end up in the right place eventually. So I do these zooms with Pam from Stitch in the Land of Good Enough. She also says shop, Stitch New England. She has 2 zooms each month that I participate in, and one of them is a fancy folk zoom. And normally I do a Joan Elliott in there, although sometimes I do something else. I wasn't in a, like, I love Joan Elliott and like Mirabilia and those, but I've been feeling like not the big block stitching lately. I've been feeling like the super intricate kind of stitching. So I took out my Teresa Winsler's Romeo and Juliet. Yes, I am letting this become a mess. I have the pattern as well, but this is stitched from a kit, and I'm using the kit materials. This is a, it doesn't say the actual color, but it's like a light blue Monaco that it's stitched on. They count as fancy folk, don't they? It's just so pretty. I don't know why I jumped into a project that has more over white skin. It's not my favorite. This isn't huge, so that's like the whole width of the top there. I actually worked on this. I feel like I worked on this just in a couple of, because I've worked on this in her Zoom once before, and I feel like it's only been those 2 days that I worked on it. The borders, Teresa Winsler's borders, at least the like structure of them, like the bones of them, are relaxing, easy stitching. So yeah, not a lot, but it's fun. I should serge this now that I have a serger. This one's really not going to be big. I measured the fabric. I always measure, so I've restarted a Teresa Winsler once before. I can show you because it's right here. I still have this. I should give it to Maggie. Maggie will be fine with the border. Sorry, Maggie. Okay, anyway. This is from Woodland Fairy. I wish I could show it. I don't have Woodland Fairy with me. So I bought a, this was one, okay, so this is gonna be story time. So Teresa Wensler is a huge motivating factor for my stitching. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. Oh my goodness, excuse me. So, wow. She's really like what motivated me, right? So they used to sell Teresa Wenslers in like Michael's and AC Moore. Is AC Moore around anymore? I had an AC Moore where I was living at the time. That was like my primary craft store. And I was like, I wasn't single. I wasn't married yet. But I was with my now husband. Didn't have kids, and I had a lot more free time. And I was browsing in the craft store, as one does. And I don't even know. Well, actually, I do know. It was a Dimensions Gold Petite kit, I think, that I did first. But I was looking for more things to do, right? And Teresa Wensler's just totally stood out to me. This was at the time when Teresa Wensler's like Fantasy Collection Volume 1 was in stores and like in AC Moore, and just blew me away. And they sold like individual leaflets and stuff in AC Moore. I don't think I'd ever been to an L&S at this point. I got the kit for Woodland Fairy, and it's so stunningly beautiful. Oh, I'm sorry if you can hear my dryer being angry. It's a little off balance. Or my dryer, my washer. It's a little off balance right now. I'm doing the best I can. Someone's dog bed needs to be washed. She got sick this morning. Anyway, I don't know what I did. Yes, I do know what I did. I think that's the bottom. So this was 20 years ago that I put these stitches in. Hold on a second. I can't. Okay. So here's what happened. I followed whatever instructions were available at the time, and I don't know what those would be. It might have been, I don't think it was the kit says, anyway, in terms of where to start, I think I probably, okay, first of all, you can also see where my masking tape was. This was one of my first ever projects that I started. And so there used to be masking tape around the edge. It got taken off pretty quickly, but there used to be. Okay. So, yeah. So I think this is like 3 inches down and 3 inches in, right? To start. Problem is, I think this fabric was only designed to give you 2 inches all of the way around. And so by the time I got down stitching the bottom part of the border, I only have, I think it's just a little bit more than 1 inch. And I am not comfortable with that. I personally like a big border. I just don't want to have to worry about it. I also now, even if I'm starting at the top, I mark the middle of my fabric. By mark, I mean I put my needle in it, a threaded needle, and then I count up to where I want to start. So I do always center things in case I, am off a little bit or I count from the center. But I basically got all the way around the outer border of Woodland Fairy, just that outside frame, and was like, oh no, what do I do? I don't like, this is making me so nervous and I don't like it. And I think I spent probably 8-10 years kind of trying to convince myself that it would be fine and to just keep going, and eventually was like, that's dumb. Do not keep going on a project this intricate, this big, that I love this much. Do not keep going. This is like all I've put in compared to like the whole piece. This is nothing, right? So anyway, I just set this aside. I was like, forget it. I think I got a piece of linen. This is like antique white Monaco. I do like Monaco, but I like linen better. And again, I love the piece so much. I was like, go all out, use your favorite fabric, and start over. So I started over, and I have made good progress. It's nowhere near done. It's probably my Teresa Wentzler with the third most work in it. I should just do a Teresa Wentzler video sometime and show you guys all my Teresa Wentzler whips. Have I done that before? I don't know. But I might do that. I feel like I have. But maybe I've just thought about it. I don't know. Okay. That's all my Teresa Wentzler for right now. I have, there's some stitching I can't show you. Next time I film a Flosstube, I should be able to show you the retreat model. I got it back from the framer on Friday for this retreat, the Autumn Lane retreat. It's beautiful. I cannot wait to hang it on my wall. I haven't done that yet because I want to keep it kind of like wrapped up to go to the retreat. It's wrapped up very nicely now. So I haven't hung it up yet, but I'm very excited. It's going to look so good in here. Very, very happy about that. I've also been working on the model that Katie Tenike has made for us for the Chatelaine retreat that we're doing next summer. So I've been busy stitching on that, but I can't show you because it's going to be a surprise. We just want the retreat attendees to see it first when they get there. Some things Chatelaine I have been working on, which is also kind of for the retreat, this is the rice stitch workshop. This is on one of my fabrics called Blush that I'm not even sure I've put on the website yet. There's always, every day, there's just 1,000 things to do, and not all of them can get done. And I do my best, and I try to take the things that are most important fastest, but it's always like just a contest, right? Between processing fabrics, dyeing, ironing, cutting, whatever, and getting and shipping, and doing the other things like updating website and all that kind of stuff. So there's always more to be done. Anyway, I'm loving stitching this. This has been such a joy. I actually stitched on some of it last night during our Chatelaine Wednesday Zoom. I've had some inquiries from some of you too, and sometimes I get flooded with the inquiries and I just can't get back to everybody. Right now, the list for the Chatelaine Wednesday Zoom is closed. I have 100 people on the list, and I'm not paying to upgrade Zoom, is basically how that goes. Also, I mean, we don't have 100 people showing up, but when you do get a certain number of people, it can be like too much because you can't really talk. I will let you guys know if I open that list again in the future, but for now, the Chatelaine Wednesday Zoom that I host is closed. Anyway, this has been tons of fun. I'm using all of Martina's called for, except like I said, the fabric. And it is, you can kind of see it sparkling. This is an opalescent, what is it? 28. A 28 linen opalescent. I don't know if she called for a 20 or 32, but I'm always inclined to stitch her pieces on a 28 if it's hand dyed, because it's probably shrunk some. So I'm making progress on that. I only have the digital copy, and it's on the phone I'm recording on. Otherwise, I'd show you the cover. I'm trying to go in like a realistic order here. I also, I just dropped something. Pardon me a moment while I bend down. Afraid you're not helping. Okay, got it. So we also, the weather turned here recently, and started to cool off. Freya, lay down. It's okay. Lay down. Good girl. The weather turned here recently and started to actually get cool and feel very fall-like. Oh, this is a newish bag for me. It's a Whip It Up project bag. It's beautiful. I love her bags. I've had her bags before. Anyway, it got cool out, and I just had one evening that I was like Christmas. Like, I was just thinking about fires and hot chocolate and snow and cozying up in a big warm cozy sweater, and I just was like, Christmas. And so I started this, and I just got this relatively recently. I've been looking at this kit for forever, not forever, for like a year, I don't know. I just love it. It actually reminds me of some of the Mirabilias that I like the most, that I really like the most. Like, I can rank my Mirabilias. There's one of the woman in a sleigh with the gifts. Is it Enchanted? I can't even believe I can't remember. There's almost 200 of them now, not to mention all the Nora Corbetts. I don't remember all the names. But it gives me the same kind of vibes. I just really love this one. So anyway, I got it started. It's a pathetic start. It's on a navy blue Aida, which at this point, I mean, I wear readers to stitch all the time now. But I don't have the problem with navy blue that I do with black. Eventually, I probably will, but for now, I'm fine. So yeah, I just got started. Got some black stitches in the corner. It's 18 count. You really see through it. 18 count navy Aida. I don't know if it's called navy, but it's navy. And so like, this is one that you could count from the corner, right? But I didn't. I did the thing where, you know, even though it's a little more work, I feel better about doing it that way, where you fold the fabric in half again. I stick my needle through the tip there and then count up and over to where I want to go. And if I did that and was like here, I'd be like, whoa, wait a minute, something's wrong. And I'd like recount at least a time or two, right? And then like measure my fabric and figure it out. Or same thing if I was like way down here, I'd be like, whoa, wait a minute. You know about how far you should be from the corner, right? Some companies give more or less fabric, but still, you know what that should basically look like. So it's kind of just a way to double check myself. So yeah, I just have some black stitches, but it made me happy. Helped me lean into the need for coziness that I was feeling at the time. That's gonna go back there for now. I have so many projects. So also, speaking of Pam is one of the people keeping me stitching at this point. And the project I forgot to bring down is Garden Beauty, which I'm stitching with Lisa, which we're still having trouble meeting up, but we have met since I last filmed. But those like routine, like I'm meeting with this person and this is what we're going to stitch. That's a huge part of my stitching time these days. And it really gets me to keep putting my hands on things. So I really appreciate it. For people who are willing to host Zooms, it's wonderful. So, I shouldn't have rolled it back up. So this is Farms of Hawkrun Hollow. You can see I don't have a lot done. I'm not in a huge hurry. This is one of my fabrics. This is Kiwi. And I love how it looks. I love how it's turning out. But yeah, obviously I don't have a lot done. I think what I'm probably going to do, what I've been doing sort of by accident and what I think I will continue to do, is outline a block, or mostly outline it, get a few stitches in just to get oriented within the block, and then start on another one. Stitching these outside borders is so easy right during a Zoom. This is how I've been counting my stitches to put in the borders, and so far as I know, it's going great. Basically I just use my floss to run like some basting stitches in to count. I'm in the middle of putting in basting. I'm like, wait, that isn't right. But I haven't finished putting in those basting stitches yet. So like a few lines up or a few threads up, I just run in these basting stitches, and then I can just, because stitching in hand, I often will cross, I'm stitching this in hand. I'll cross each X as I go. So I don't want to do the method I use on like Teresa Wensler's typically. So, yeah, that's how I do it. I just put in the basting thread and then I just stitch the line and then I take the basting thread out. So yeah, not a ton done, but I'm enjoying it. It's 36 count, and which I like stitching in hand on 36 count, and stitching 1/2. I'm not like in any rush or hurry, but I really enjoy making some progress on it. Okay, now I think I'm going to move on. I was waiting to do kind of like my wool projects together. So, this is going to be a short video today. I know some of you might like that. Some of you might be really disappointed, and I'm sorry. So I'm even like looking around like, oh, is there more I can show? I have so much stuff. Okay, so I introduced a wool embroidery thread kind of floss situation into my shop. I don't know, a month ago or something. It's something I've been working on for months. I love stitching with it. I actually need to film a video showing how to use it, but like it's not complicated. This seems like a lot. I'll show you what I have. So this is, I probably showed you guys before. This is a little bit of a mess because this is mine. And oftentimes, so this is, I have multiple kind of, you know, groups of things. This is made up of threads that, yours won't show up like this, is my point. This is made up of like threads that were like too short, like to make a full skein, or there was a break in the yarn somewhere. Because I'm not going to send you floss or thread that has a break in it. And I've got like multiple things on. Anyway, it, like I said, yours won't come as a mess, but these are the colors I have. So I've got 40 colors right now. Hopefully more to come. So this is actually a lace weight yarn. It's a wool silk blend, and it's lovely, and I love stitching with it. And it's very springy, so you can kind of adjust how puffy your stitches are sort of easily as you stitch. But anyway, I had stitched with it previously before I even started dyeing tons of it, just to make sure, right, that it was going to work and that it was going to act the way I want. A lot of threads, like thicker threads, are multi-use. Quilters might use them for like applique or decorative stitching. They can also be used for knitting if you have larger quantities of them, or thread crochet and embroidery floss, right? And this is thick. This is a thick thread to use for embroidery and cross stitch, on purpose. I like stitching in hand 1/2, but I also, and I don't really love stitching 2/2 in hand. I wanted a thread that I could use one strand on a 28 or 32 count. I like sulky, but that it doesn't give the coverage that I'm sometimes looking for. Sometimes I want like a nice thick coverage. This stuff's, I'm petting it. It's such a dream. It's so soft and squishy. My husband's texting me. It's not helpful. Actually, I'm worried. Why is it not coming through? I wonder if it doesn't come through on my watch while I'm on here. Okay, he'll figure it out. Anyway, I wanted something I could stitch on my beloved 28 count, and still get like really good coverage, but use with one strand. So once I got all the colors dyed, I started stitching with it, and I love it so much. So I want to show you what I've been working on. First, just a couple really simple things. So these are motifs. So I don't have a good cover of it. One of the projects I want to work on, I want to start, which I'm hopefully going to start here in the next few days, is His Eyes on the Sparrow. His Eyes on the Sparrow from Heartstring Samplery. It's enormous. I'll show you the fabric. I've dyed for it in a minute. Anyway, and it's even more enormous because I'm going to stitch it on 28 count. I want words. I just pulled out, because I want to have, for the retreat in a couple weeks, I want to have some models where people can actually see what the thread looks like stitched up. So I just pulled out a couple of motifs from that large piece and stitched them. I think I'm going to turn this one into a scissor fob. I did mess up. This petal's supposed to be like 1 stitch higher. I messed up. I don't care. It's personalization. I love the way it's stitching up. I love the variation, like the way it's, which is exactly what I was going for when I was dyeing this floss. It was like tonal, like not quite solid colors. That's what I love the most. Everything I make is like something that I want, right? Like something I don't see elsewhere, or that's hard to find, or I haven't found what I'm looking for, and so I make it myself. And this thread is that. I do also think I'm going to end up using it for applique and maybe even some big stitch hand quilting, but I digress. So I love how my flower turned out. Like I said, I think I'm going to cut it, I think I'm going to do it like a diamond and turn it into a scissor fob. I got to do that. And then these, I just put these together. So these weren't in the chart. And this is just an offcut of 32 count linen that I did this. So this is on 32 count. She has these bird motifs and she has this. I just like put them together this way. And I think I'm just going to do a little pin pillow. I love it. I love the way it's stitching up. So these two birds are done in the same color of floss, but they look a little bit different. You can see like the variation. So if you're coming to the retreat, you'll get to see these in person. On 32 count, like it is tight. It's not too tight. But I personally would not use this thread on a 36 count linen. I think that would be, unless I was maybe doing tent stitch. I actually want to try stitching some 32 count on 32 count doing tent stitch and see it like more like what you think of as like a needlepoint stitch. I think it would look great. The needlepoint wools are usually way thicker than this, but the canvases are also usually a lot, the stitches are a lot bigger. I think it might look really good using tent stitch on 32 count. And on 28 count, I know from stitching the undyed version, it's going to be a dream. And I really enjoyed this on 32 count. I'm stitching a whole other project on 32 count, which I'll show you in a second. So anyway, I need to finish these. I have some fabric. I think I know what line of fabric I'm going to use for the backing of them. Anyway, I need time. I need to finish that. And then, so I didn't do a good job having like pictures of projects. I apologize. So Chatelaine has a sampler. It's called the Friendship Sampler. You can get it from the Chatelaine website as a digital copy. So so Maggie and I are stitching it. I barely started. Look, I know this color is seaweed that I'm using right now. See, I'm just stitching in hand. I like how my X's look. They're puffy and just beautiful. I love the variegation. Oh, I could stitch with this stuff all day long. They're just very full stitches. This color is actually, I just called it Friendship because I dyed it for Maggie and I. It's definitely like it's a more subtle color, but and kind of yellowish, like a light yellow, slightly mottled color. So Maggie and I are each stitching half, and then we will trade and stitch the other half on our own. So she's stitching half of mine right now, and I've started stitching half of hers. Oh my goodness. Sorry about the phone call. So anyway, I just started this the other day. Maggie's way ahead of me. Maggie Kitschy Whips, if you don't know who I'm talking about, I talk about her a lot. She's who I do the retreat with. I'll link her below. But if you want to see what more of it looks like, I would definitely go check out her Instagram. She is way ahead of me. So his eyes on the sparrow, which is where I got these motifs, I want to start that sooner rather than later. His eyes on the sparrow is something on 28 count, is something like 26 inches by 36 inches or something insane. Freya, 1 minute. Come on up. No, don't be a butt. Come on up. Anyway, I decided I want to stitch his eyes on the sparrow on my color Garden, which is one of the colors that I dyed specifically. I'm sorry, my dog is being a butt. I dyed this specifically, or designed this color for, it's actually coming out not that bad on screen. Again, in person, it's more softly modeled. It looks more blotchy on camera. I designed this color specifically with chatelaines in mind. Freya! Bad girl! Whoa, I just made it worse. Okay. Anyway, I think it's going to work great as the background. It's green with some blue undertones. I think it's going to work amazing for his eyes on the sparrow. This is a full yard. That's half of it right there. It's enormous. It's 28 count. If I ever finish it, maybe I'll turn it into a bed covering instead of framing it and putting it on the wall. Actually, that's like maybe not a bad idea. It could be beautiful. Anyway, so I don't need this whole thing. I need to double check my math, and then I'm going to trim what I don't need and probably serge the raw edge. But anyway, that's what I'm going to stitch his eyes on the sparrow on. And I've been trying, like, meaning to get to dyeing this for myself for so long. And finally a bunch of people ordered. I mean, people had ordered Garden before, but somebody might have shown it or something, because I got influx of a bunch of orders for Garden. And most of the dyeing I do now is like in groups. Like, I'm not dyeing a single piece. I'll dye a bunch of one color all at once. Anyway, a bunch of people ordered Garden, and I took the opportunity to dye my blanket of Garden for myself. I also, you know what, there's also an embroidery project I could have brought down, and I'm a goober and I didn't. I just brought this to show you too. The threads work great for embroidery. And so I had ordered from John Arbin Textiles. They're a woolen mill in the UK. I actually ordered their sample cards, and they came in this bag, and I was like, ooh, project bag. And I was just kind of doodling around one evening, and I just used my threads to just do some, I like how my butterfly turned out. Look at that pink. Anyway, I just decided to personalize my bag a little bit and throw a little embroidery on it just for the fun of it. I think that's it. 43 minutes. Who am I? I never filmed something less than an hour. If you are interested in any of those embroidery threads, they're all on my website. No pressure though, which is Oak Crown Studios. I will link it below. They are not for everybody, because if you don't like a thicker, plumper, more plump, puffier thread, if you don't, it's not as like slick and smooth as cotton, and it's a lot thicker. So if you're like, I don't like things that are different or weird, probably, and if you're like, I only stitch on 46 count, I wouldn't use this. But if you're like me, and either you love trying new things, or you like the idea of using this on the lower count fabrics, like 28, 32, or even 25. Oh, it would look great on 25. It would also, I think it would, your stitches would be, there's like perfect coverage, like 100%. You cannot see, well, here the birds will be easy. Like, there's no fabric peeking through at all. And I think it would even be that way on a 25 count. Anyway, then it might be for you. Okay, so that's what I'm working on. I'm going to the retreat in 2 weeks. I'm going to keep working mostly on Princess and the Dragon and just pick other things up here and there as the mood strikes, as I tend to do. I don't really expect I'm going to stitch it all at the retreat. I put in maybe 5 stitches last year. And in addition to running the retreat with Maggie, I will also be vending. Although I've got somebody who's going to be like running my booth for me on Friday and Saturday. I'm going to do it Thursday. And I'll be around, of course, for questions or any problems or concerns. But somebody else is going to be doing the, like, checking people out, so, you know, situation Friday and Saturday, so that I can do the retreat part. I'm very excited. I'm so excited to show you guys what Autumn Lane, what Aaron designed for us. It's fantastic. I'm absolutely thrilled. I'm very grateful and honored that he not only agreed to do this, but that he designed something for us that is so beautiful. Okay, I think that's it. I hope you guys are enjoying your crafting time. I hope you're taking care of yourselves. I hope you're enjoying your change of seasons wherever you are in the world and whatever that feels like. And I will see you guys sometime after the retreat. Bye. Okay, I'm back real quick with one more. I'm not going to say bye again. But I, like, as soon as I turned off the camera, I was like, oh my God, that's the one I dropped and I didn't show it. I also worked a little bit on Young Mother Sewing, which I am really enjoying. I love this piece. I'm like 11% complete, 11 point something. I'm stitching it hand, 2/1, half cross, and enjoying it. Enjoying it immensely. I mean, who knows, right? Who knows when it's going to be done. I think that's the other edge there, if I remember correctly, or very near to it. I'm not sure how far down it goes. But, yeah. Okay, that's it. Bye, guys.